Welcome to the Prime Debate. In every country, the judiciary comprises the third and in many ways the most important organ of the governmental machinery. However, if the judges are not men of integrity and sound moral character, public confidence in the judiciary cannot be ensured. It is this public trust and credibility that is now threatened as a result of allegations of impropriety, indiscretion, and even acts of direct and indirect corruption. To discuss this issue of corruption in judiciary, we are joined in our studios by Justice S.S. Kang, former Governor of Kerala, Justice J.L. Gupta, former Chief Justice of Kerala, Mr. M.L. Sareen, Senior Advocate and former Advocate General, Punjab and Haryana, Mr. N.S. Boparai, Advocate, Punjab and Haryana High Court. Welcome to the studio, sir. Justice Kang, my first question to you is, it's a statement, having Chief Justices from other High Courts. The other day, a former judge of the Supreme Court and 3 or 4 other judges of High Courts wrote an opinion piece in which they stated that the Chief Justice of a High Court should be a judge of the same court, as outsiders don't have adequate working knowledge of the court and its traditions. Do you agree with that?
I fully agree with this view. I endorse it, and my personal experience is also that the Chief Justice from outside is not a success. The reasons are, firstly, the Chief Justice is first among the equals. He doesn't have any powers over his colleague or his brother judges. It is his moral authority and his personality by which he can persuade and he can lead the court. The other point is that a person who is from the outside, he can't play this role. Secondly, to be a leader, you should have knowledge. You should know all the members of the bench,
right,
the senior judges at least of the lower judiciary, then prominent lawyers. So a outsider, when he comes, he can't know all these things, and in the very nature of things, the tenure of a Chief Justice is not long. Many of them have 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So that in this view, that is also. And another issue which is, I think, which is not raised in this goes against the minorities,
right,
ladies and people from backward classes. You see, the very nature of things, Chief Justice generally sits in the first bench. Important cases come to him. The ordinary cases which the lawyers from that strata get those cases, they hardly come before the Chief Justice. So he has no occasion to know the talent and the merit of the person from this. And then his being an outsider, he doesn't know the ethos of the people. There are certain things peculiar to different states, different issues.
Cultures also.
So different social groups also have, for example, a person from Kerala. My experience in Kerala is that people from the south, at least from Mr. Brother will also bear me, hardly know anything about north.
North, right.
Similarly, we also know hardly anything about them. So that is, a leader has to be a person who is well aware of things and who can really lead.
Right.
Experience says that in our court, this court, as I was a lawyer, as a judge, because those people, many of them have, people don't remember them. There are, I think, 2 or 3 only Chief Justices from outside whom people remember, because that was a lackluster tenure. So this is my submission regarding the Chief Justice.
Right. Justice Gupta, as Justice Kang said, the Chief Justice from outside is not a success. Do you agree with him?
I have my reservations. I don't even agree with the article which appeared in the media recently.
Right.
I personally think a Chief Justice from outside has a basic advantage. He writes on a clean slate. He is totally objective. He suffers from no bias. And when he sits down to make an assessment in any matter, he brings total impartiality to bear upon the issues involved in a matter. And as for his knowing the local ethos, we have a uniform judicial process in the whole country. We are all governed by one constitution. Our laws of procedure, our laws of trials, our rules of evidence are common. And that being the position, there is hardly any difference between the court in Chandigarh or the court in Cochin. Going to another place, in fact, is educative. If you go to a better place, you learn something. And you are able to contribute also. So therefore, it doesn't in any way affect the working of the system.
But it doesn't bring in the dependency on the subordinate judiciary then?
No, not the subordinate judiciary. What my Justice Kang was trying to emphasize was, you are not familiar with your colleagues,
Right.
you are not familiar with the district judiciary. It doesn't take very long. It
But
doesn't
then
take
as you
long at
mentioned that they're left with few years, like
all. How does it matter?
60 if
Better
they're...
the better. If you have a short tenure,
Right.
you get an opportunity to make an impact in that short interval. Justice Kang himself went to Kashmir and he made an impact there as the Chief Justice of the court. He left behind an imprint. People still remember him. Justice Sodhi went to Allahabad. Everybody remembers him even today.
Justice Kang, what was your experience in Kashmir, as he just told us?
Unfortunately, I went at a time when things were very, very bad. I went there in October 1989, and 2-3 months after that, militancy was there.
Okay.
So courts in the valley were not functioning. With great difficulty, I was able to persuade the learned council to come to courts. They were not coming to the courts even.
So there was not much of...
There was Jammu was functioning. So what as I said that they, even then, so we were by the time I came back, then we had become somewhat functional. So but then
That was the imprint he left behind.
so then but with great respect to my brother, we want a Chief Justice, if he is a person, he is good. What a judge, as you see, Chief Justice is not, if this applies to all the judiciary, the persons, if he is not, he has to be good as a judge also, not only as a Chief Justice. Leadership of course, that is there. But it is easier said than done. Don't become a leader after in a year or 2 years. It is involved also, but still functionally, as institutionally, I think. Then there is other point also. Now, I was a I was a judge of this court. There, even that time, I think there were 25 judges. I was sent to a court. There were only 6 judges, and sometimes it happens that a person will like to be a judge of a larger court. A person supposing from Bombay, you sent to Sikkim. So that is not very fair. And there is no guidelines who is to be sent there. I was proposed to be sent to Bangalore, but I was sent to Kashmir because they said that the Kashmiris don't want any Hindu. So that was the reason.
Yeah, that too
given.
happened.
So that is unfortunate. That is the. So there is no policy whom to send, where to a person is to be sent.
Right, sir. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you over here. Mr. Serene, appointment of Chief Justices from other high courts has been a norm from almost 3 decades,
Yes.
right? And has it fulfilled the objectives?
Well, you've just heard 2 wonderful views from former Chief Justices. Let me share my view as a member of the bar. When this policy of having Chief Justices from outside was enforced in the early 80s, our court, that is the High Court of Punjab and Haryana, was perhaps the #1 court in the country. As far areas were concerned, speedy disposal of cases, everything was functioning so well. And then came this policy. And suddenly, as I feel, we've had so many former Chief Justices with very short tenures that they have not been able to maintain that momentum that our court had in disposing of cases quickly.
Okay.
The result is, today we have a huge backlog of cases. Second deficiency or problem that I feel is a result of outside Chief Justices. Some of them have tried to bring their own practices and procedures from their court and without trying to understand the wonderful practices and procedures that we've had in our court for the last 1 century.
Right.
They've tried to change those and leading to total disaster. So I am not in favor of outside Chief Justices. If Justice Kang made a mark in J&K, it is something which goes to him individually. He would have made a mark here also. If Justice J.L. Gupta made a mark in Kerala, I'm sure if he had stayed on here, he would have made a mark here also. I don't think that furthers the argument of outside Chief Justice.
Right. What is your reaction to everything what these gentlemen has said?
See, with due respect to such eminent people, but I agree with former Chief Justice, Justice J.L. Gupta.
Okay.
See, in the course of your growing up, certain impressions are created when a Chief Justice is appointed, because he's seen everything, he's passed through the bar, and then he's a judge, and then finally the Chief Justice. And there is a mindset. We are all human beings, so we make mistakes. So anybody coming from outside there's a fair play, there's more balance, to my opinion. It's purely my opinion. Plus now with this new policy that they are sending judges who are going to be Chief Justices 6 months in advance, that is to make them acclimatize with the circumstances and situation there. Who's
Right.
who, what's happening in the bar, what's happening the bench, so that as and when they are he is appointed as Chief Justice, he is fully familiar with the ground realities of the court. So I endorse the view which
But
I think
I
we're
would, I would with respect, disagree to an extent. Unfortunately, a Chief Justice does not have any machinery at his disposal to find out about the functioning of other judges, about the functioning or the capability of members of the bar, except by seeing them appear before him. So he is highly dependent on members of the bar or other colleagues in getting inputs. And that, I think, destroys the whole purpose of having an independent Chief Justice. So if he had been brought up in that court, he knows the members of the bar, he knows all the honorable judges, that problem is utterly taken care of. And if he's a good judge, he'll be a wonderful judge.
Mr. Salim, we
May I
have...
just say a word?
Sure, sir.
He is right. When an outsider comes, he has no idea of who are the good lawyers, who are the good district judges, etc. But how long does it take to discover talent? My experience in Kerala was, we had vacancies. We had to consider people for elevation. I wrote to all my colleagues, we have vacancies, I am new, please guide me. I got a total list of 65 names. Mind you, the diversity, the
Okay.
number of people who were recommended, 65 names. I made a list in my own hand, and every day 5 names were given to the registrar. All cases of those 5 lawyers were put up before the first court.
Okay.
Heard them. By the process of elimination, within a month, we were able to shortlist up to 6 or 7.
Out of 65.
Hats
Out of
off-
65.
hats off to
And
Chief
after
Justice.
having done that, we had an important matter coming up before a 5-judge bench, called all the 3 or 4 judges, lawyers who were prominent, to address arguments on an important issue concerning the interpretation of a particular statute.
Right.
They appeared. All the 5 of us conferred as to who out of them would make good judges.
Kang, I'll again start with you. Now the issues row over transfers. So last week some judges of high courts were transferred. This included 3 from the Punjab and Haryana court. No reasons were given, but it was generally believed that at least some of them were ordered to be transferred since their kith and kin were practicing in the same court. So what is your stand on this?
I am not against transfer of judges as such, but it should be a very fair, transparent and thought out process
By that...
by the people who have to transfer them. So sometimes the transfers are made, but people don't know why people have been transferred. People think that these other people should have been transferred, they are not transferred. So this is one thing which is